Welcome to a new episode of the Car Dealership Podcast. Today's guest is Hélène Lanssens from Nextlane, one of the leading automotive retail software groups in Europe. We'll talk about digital transformation, the future of automotive retail, AI, dealer challenges, and the recent partnership between Nextlane and Novaco. Hello, Hélène. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Martin. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you as well. So not so long ago that I was on a video episode of yours, and now very happy that you are here in my podcast.
Yes,
so very
and it was
welcome.
very nice to meet you face to face in Madrid a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, absolutely. It was really nice. So, Hélène, for people that don't know you yet, could you please explain who you are and what is your background?
Yes. So, Hélène, I'm originally French. I'm based in Madrid right now. I've worked all of my career in the automotive industry, and that's not by chance. I really inherited this passion from my dad, and also my brother works in the industry. So, beginning of my career was after studying business. I worked for Volkswagen France for almost 2 years, and then personal reason I moved to London for 3 years, and this is where I start to move from OEM and working in relationship with a dealer network with SaaS players in the automotive industry. So really getting an understanding of the car data, the different industries within the automotive industries, whether not only OEM dealers, but the importers, the leasing companies, the websites industry, the second vehicle channels, etc. So I've been at a company called JATO for 14 years in different roles, from the data quality to pre-sales, customization, support, and then product. To then join another company in the automotive ecosystem called Solera, who is looking at the workflows for car damage approval workflows for auto insurers, involving also independent repairers, car expert appraisers. So I learned a different area of automotive, always in the product management area. And in Nextlane, I've been almost 4 years, 3 years as a chief product officer, setting up the product organization, looking at all of the different product in the portfolio for dealers, importers, and OEMs, for DMS, CRM, and also other digital solutions, part of the ecosystem. And since beginning of this year, I'm looking after strategic partnerships with OEMs and partners also like Novaco and others, as well as managing product marketing. So as you would understand from this short introduction, I've explored many areas of the industry. I'm still learning why the industry is still transforming, which makes it a very exciting industry to be in.
Absolutely. You mentioned your father. Did he have a dealership or was he active in the sector?
No. So he was managing a small fleet of vehicles for like a government-supported foundation in France, looking after disabled children. And basically, they were, driving and taking the children from the house. They would also use the fleet to take the kids on holiday. So he was managing a small fleet of approx, 5 to 10 vehicles. It was a small city, but he was spending quite a lot of his time at the dealerships and used to talk a lot to the different dealers in the city in the north of France. And so my weekends with him was we would go to the dealers and have a look at the latest cars that were released. And he was also, and still is, a fan of Formula One. So every Sunday we were at the F1 race, I was spending time with him.
So you are also a car enthusiast?
Of course, yeah. Like this weekend, I'm seeing a Euro drift competition on a small racetrack we have here near Madrid, and my brother is doing a car campers conversion, so getting like a traffic, a Vito, a transit transform for tourism, but on the type of a boutique style. So it really goes for people that are either disabled or they need to take a parrot, a cat, and a dog on a trip in South America. So he has to do all of the van configuration based on the customer requirements.
No,
So it's
cool.
more hands-on. Yeah. So very diverse experience in the family.
Family with petrol in the veins. So that's clear. Yeah, that's
Yes.
good. That's good. If you look at your earlier career, what lessons did you learn there that you are still using today?
Hmm. So, couple. So first, the data, right? I was very much exposed from the data from the very beginning. Even being in Volkswagen, we were using JATO data at the time to compare vehicles together and be able um, to take decisions on which product should be having which specifications from a standard point of view or options. And at the time, there was very little data available in a consumable way. So I remember we had a big room full of leaflets of lots of the cars and the competitors, and you had to compare, looking on the brochures, which car had an option or not, what was the price, etc. It was very labor intense. And then leveraging JATO's data and other softwares, we could do that much, much faster. And the data was harmonized across the different brands, which was very helpful to get a good car understanding for each market and then in 50 plus markets. And of course, the data being right is very useful because you make the right decision. And sometimes also found data not being up to date is very painful because you depend on an update from a someone or from a system. Nowadays, it's more and more interface based. So data has been always be the base of my work in the automotive industry. So the data, in the sense of car specification, options, car sales data, volume of sales by car type, by model, by brand, by country. But I think the most complex part we had was all of the option rules. I remember BMW brochures where we had almost 100 pages of options explaining which option would exclude or include or require another option, and it's still very complicated today. So the complexity of some brands also make it very complex to manage from a data point of view.
If you look at the Netherlands, so I've spent quite some years of my career working in the Netherlands, also Belgium and other countries, but in the Netherlands specifically, you use, I think it's also Solera, Autodata, Wieler Delta is, I think, one of the
Yes, it
solutions of
belongs to
Solera.
yes.
Yeah. And there you describe your car. You have also others like Autotelex and VWE. And you basically fill in your number plate. It enriches the data automatically based on the number plate. You add pictures of the car and that's it. You publish the car to the classified websites. But if you look at other markets, like in Belgium, we don't have that. You cannot fill in a number plate and retrieve all the data. So then you're actually dependent on the human input. You need to go to AutoScout. You need to start saying, okay, this is the brand, that's the model. You select all the things that are applicable to that car. But what can actually dealers do to make sure that they have a very good data quality? Do you have any advice for them?
So the best I think they can do is rely on a standard source, especially if they are multi-brand dealers. Because if you're single brand, usually you get the data directly from the interfaces. If it's for a new car, you do the order, the offer, and then you have the car configured from the very beginning, right? And usually the OEM configurators are the best source of truth and the most up to date. I think the challenge comes when they come afterwards for the after sales, because you can have a car that you did not sell, maybe another brand, and you don't know enough data about the car. So there to rely on well-recognized local suppliers would be the best, because I've seen also in the past years that the best data supplier can be sometimes different from a market to another. And sometimes you have good like multi-country suppliers like Autodata, but you just in your example, right? Autodata is a standard for Netherlands. Maybe it's not yet a strong recognized standard for Belgium. So if you're a single country dealer, but yet multi-brand, my advice is look at the best recognized data supplier, or it can be also on the used car part, right? The marketplaces ecosystem is very diverse country by country. We have a Nextlane solution where you can take pictures of the car, and then we clean the background, put the background with the logo of the dealer. We push it to the marketplace in some markets, Germany Mobility, and in Spain there are other key players like Coches.net, in France Le Bon Coin, and so on. But there are other marketplaces. So the fact that you might have a way to connect with a multi-publisher, the companies locally that already interface with 5, 10, 15 different marketplaces can be much faster. And some of them in the process incorporate the possibility to do the specification data enhancement that you just explained for Netherlands. That's available in many markets. Of course, you have to pay something for it, but you think of the time you save to sell the car faster and have less time the car on stock, I think is worthwhile the investment. Sometimes dealers sees the extra cost, but not so much the return on investment that they get, and therefore the saving.
I think many dealers will say, no, I'll put the car online myself, and I will not spend money on JATO or others. I actually had today an interesting conversation with a company in Germany, Automedia, and they are transforming actually from a publishing company. So they used to be like Autodata, but they are moving towards vehicle data. And they have a lot of data for example, BMW. And the thing is, if you advertise a car, people start searching on a lot of fields, like even how quick does a car charge? What is the driving range? What is the vehicle health condition? There are a lot of new fields that we get with all these cars. If you don't fill them in, your cars are not found. You can spend a lot of money on advertising your cars, and you can say, I've saved a little bit of money on the vehicle data suppliers. But actually, if you spend that money, you know that your car is being found. So that's very important, because otherwise you just, it's money down the drain, because you're advertising cars that nobody sees. So I think you're absolutely right that everything starts with good data. Interesting. But if you look at the automotive retail landscape, dealers today are under a lot of pressure. The margins are under pressure. Electric cars require many less service, so you need to service a lot of more cars for the same results. Customer expectations are higher than ever. We have staffing challenges. So how do you see the current state of automotive retail?
I see it transforming a lot, and I think we've said for many, many years, myself and many others, that the industry is under transformation. One of the big milestones was the arrival of the electric cars, which arrived faster in Norway, for example, and much slower in other countries in Europe. But I think we have many more areas now really speeding up, accelerating the transformation. So it's not about whether the industry is transforming or not. It is transforming, but the pace is going much faster. And I think there are key elements to that. The OEM strategies, both the existing OEMs in the market want to get more control end-to-end, not only from the new car, but used car and after sales, and how they can resell, refinance, release vehicles along the entire life cycle. That also drives changes with retail. Of course, new arrivals of Chinese OEMs. And for the markets where electric vehicle was not a must yet, they were still very adaptable to sell Chinese vehicles with ICE engines and also hybrid electric vehicles. So I think it's not only coming from electric challenge, but also the Chinese OEMs arrival being very competitive. And also all of the AI evolutions, right? Not only on how we can implement internally, how we can go faster with the product implementation externally, but also over time, how this is also embedded within the cars themselves in the software. So all of that is accelerating a lot, the transformation. Of course, dealers are under a lot of pressure from the new car point of view. And we've seen many brands going from, I've got retail, then I move to agile model, or I move back to retail. So I think the industry and the brands are still searching themselves there. I think used car is still a very good opportunity for the dealers. Because not everyone can afford a new car. They're in markets like in France, where the first new car buyer average age is more than 55 years old. So you still have a huge market for cheaper used cars. And then on the after sales, from the information I've read recently, I think in some markets the used car potential is much higher. In some others is not so much, but the after sales is still more of a potential upside. So between used car and after sales, I think dealers would have to choose their priority. Also, what I get more and more from dealers, but not only in bigger markets like in France, but also here in Iberia, that they look at the brands as diversification strategy, and we see many dealers making sure they have like a car for any type of customer. Hey, I'm a student, low budget. What do you have for me? Hey, I have a family with 3 kids. What do you have for me? Hey, I am an exec. I want a premium car. So basically, any lead needs to find an answer within their dealer or their dealer group. And I see this, I think that's really smart. Of course, not every dealer group can afford to have 20, 30 brands. But becoming bigger, they can have a bigger offering. Also, we see dealers starting their own mobility solutions. So diversification of services is, of course, also either directly themselves or working with partners, I think can also be a strong asset for them moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. If you look at the systems that the dealers are using today, it's very much siloed. Many systems are disconnected from each other. Do you think that the industry is moving fast enough digitally?
No. No, not fast enough. No, because some of these systems have been at the dealer for 10, 20, 30 years. Therefore, there is the effect of legacy. The legacy makes you slower. And legacy software 10, 20, 30 years ago were not specifically designed to have the data accessible, to have the data normalized, to be consumed by other systems. So I think having newer systems that are more open and connectable will help them. However, there is also the understanding as a project, right, at the dealer. What do I want to tackle and in which order? Because there is so much to do that it can also be very overwhelming to go from legacy disconnected system to perfect end-to-end digital journey.
But as a dealer, how can you make the right choice? So what does the successful one do compared to the one that remains in the old situation? What would be your advice?
So my advice is to start where it's most painful. And usually where it's most painful is where you have most volume of activities. And usually it's in the after sales. And because there is always this tension of having the right amount of appointments to fulfill, the mechanics, etc., and make sure they work as efficiently as possible. And we see more and more also a willingness on the dealer side to push upsell activities right on the after sales. And every touch point in the after sales process, from the appointment to delivering the car, is also an opportunity for customer satisfaction. So they get visibility on what's going on, and also upsell them additional maybe service that they did not consider or something that they rejected in the part.
Do you also believe that in after sales that the customer expectations are changing? That the consumer who goes for service, that they have a different view on how the dealer should treat them than in the past?
For a part of the consumers, yes, I would say the younger population for sure, because it's a population where they want to have everything fast, have the digital updates, the generation of or buying everything through Amazon. And I'm maybe not so young, but I'm buying everything via Amazon already. So the expectation, yes, because for the population who is used to go to the doctor and book the appointment online, take a flight, a hotel, etc. Why should it be so painful when you take the car for an after sale repair? And I'm yet to have myself as a car owner a pure, perfect end-to-end journey. I'm working in the industry, so of course, so I'm observing everything, and every time I go for a maintenance or a repair, I'm observing everything that's happening end to end, and I get nice surprises along the way. Like last week, I got a message saying, "Hey, my car will be repaired at a small scratch on the door on that date," and then they gave me another update the day before. Fine, and the car was handed to me. I was happy, right? But the beginning of that story was very hard to book an appointment. When I arrived, they said, "Hey, you take a ticket number," and the ticket didn't get out of the machine, so I didn't even know which ticket I had in the queue. So it's still a bit clumsy, and sometimes it's not only depending on the dealer systems, but also on the OEM system. So to be end to end, you also have to have this handshake OEM dealer because they share processes, they share data. And I think this is probably the most complex part.
Hey, before we hop back into this conversation with Martin, imagine an AI communication layer seamlessly connected to your dealership systems. One intelligent platform that gives both your customers and your team instant access to the right information at the right time. Well, that's NovaCo, short for the Nova Company. At its heart is Nova, the AI model behind it all, inspired by the Nova Star, bright when needed, invisible when not, just like a good assistant. On your website, Nova appears as the orb, a glowing, breathing chat bubble that invites customers to ask anything, anytime. But Nova is more than a website assistant. You see, with Nova Companion, she supports your team internally, answering questions using brochures, price lists, stock data, and more. Just instant answers for your team, saving them time and helping them focus on the customer. And with Nova Messaging, she connects with customers on WhatsApp and other channels, managing service updates, follow-ups, and appointment reminders, all in one professional flow. It's pretty cool. And yes, Nova Voice is coming soon, bringing the same intelligence to your phone system and completing the omni-channel experience. You see, customer communication is evolving, but with NovaCo, you're not just adapting, you're setting the pace. Find out more at novaco.ai, that's novaco.ai, and experience what's next. All right, let's get back to Martin.
I agree. Yeah, but I think that's actually a good customer experience, and making it easy is for all ages. My parents are in their 70s, and they're also very much working with their iPhone and used to that, and used that you can book online. I think that with many dealers that you can still learn a lot, and that why are people calling so much to a dealer to ask for the status of their car? It's just because the dealer processes have not been good. They've not been good at informing the customer at the right time, at the right moment, through the channel that they prefer. And what I see is that very often dealer executives, they say, no, but with our dealership, it's all about personal contact. When you call us, somebody picks up the phone. Yeah, that's fine if they pick up the phone. And but so many people are calling you, and it's difficult. So it's not always a great experience that way. While you might think that it is, because you are working with the human side. So yeah, but if you look at Nextlane, can you also explain what Nextlane is and what role the company wants to play in the future of automotive retail?
Yes. So we are positioning Nextlane as the leader automotive ecosystem in Europe. Okay, very important to specify. We are entirely focusing in Europe. We, as you can see above my head, open, secure, and smart. Meaning we want to provide open ecosystem to our customers, given all of the different players in the ecosystem, OEMs, importers, dealers, other providers or partners, competitors. Being closed is just slowing down the pace that the customers, the dealers, in this case, could adjust and transform themselves, right? So there's no way that Nextlane will have 100% of all of the solution for all of the countries in Europe, for all of the touch points. No way.
Yes.
They are OEM processes, they are dealers, they are experts in their fields. And so we want to collaboratively provide this ecosystem. Secure, of course, because we are cloud based. Even for DMSs, we are transferring them in a cloud offering with AWS, one of our key partners. So that's also part of this secure. And smart because of smart solutions, also working on AI solutions like the remarketing application to improve the car images before we published on the marketplaces. Also working on Gen AI technology to manage the leads faster, coming back from the marketplace, and many other things. And at the end, our mission is to enable our customers to drive their business better. So all of that is for the customers' digitalization process for sales and after sales.
But you combine multiple automotive software solutions in one group. So why is then integration becoming so important?
Yes, so it's very important for many reasons. Nextlane grew from approx 15 acquisitions in the past years. And from the very beginning, we realized that we had customers consuming multiple solutions that we had in Nextlane. So we have some dealer groups that have 2 DMSs or more from Nextlane in different countries. But on their side, it's one group, right? And they want to unify the way they consume data, that they can also link applications together, whether from a third party, or even we see big dealer groups developing their own solutions, right? So we needed to do the connection for that type of need on the customer side, also for ourselves, because we have the new solution that we built on top of the platform. So that's why we developed the Nextlane platform over the past 4 years to connect our solutions together, to enable the dealers to have a better, clean access to the data. We also leverage a platform to build OEM interfaces across Europe, so we can reuse that work from a country to another. And also, last but not least, to provide this open API to our partners and like you, Novaco, where you're able to connect to the platform and with the same APIs, be able to connect to the different DMSs we have in Europe and for the different countries.
Yeah, I think that's interesting about your concept is that you have an an API layer where we can connect with, and that actually you can access all the DMSs that you provide in Europe.
Correct.
So that's I think a really interesting concept. But if you look at AI, it's everywhere in the conversation. So what is the view of Nextlane in terms of the role of AI in dealer operations?
So the role of AI needs to be assisting humans and allowing humans to spend more time on high qualified tasks, whether it's for a complex customer conversation or a complex repair or a complex estimate. But there are many day-to-day tasks that can save a lot of time, and that time can be reinvested in other high-value activities. And I think it's the same for also applicability of AI internally in companies, right? You want to spend most of your time relying on your experience, your knowledge, and have AI helping you for more repetitive tasks that can be easily delegated to AI.
But if you look at that, where do you believe that AI can have the biggest impact right now in the car dealer?
Yes, so multiple areas, but for sure, all of these conversations with the customers out of dealer hours is key, because typically people have to work, they have to look after their family, etc. And when they have the time to talk to the dealer is when the dealer is closed. So we're talking before, right? That the dealer is saying sometimes, yeah, I want to talk to my customers, but the issue is the customers, they want to talk to the dealers on a Friday evening, on a Sunday afternoon, and the dealer is closed. So there are lots of missed opportunities that are creating frictions on both sides. So I think this one is very simple use case to look at. to not miss any conversation, to not miss any questions, to not miss any lead for making an appointment, for example, or ask a question about a new car or used car.
No, that's true. It's we actually have like right now a Nova scan, so that the dealer can fill in their website and can see what improvements you can find in an easy way. And we have like a small drawing showing the opening hours and all the hours that people are active. And actually, also the data shows that 1/3 of the questions are coming out of the office hours. And I believe also that it will increase actually, because right now there is less communication outside of hours because customers know that they cannot ask their question. They know that the dealership is closed because they're used to it. But when they are starting to get used to the fact that you can actually ask your questions and the AI is there and it can help 24/7, people will start communicating more and it will actually generate more leads. I'm very sure of that. But of course, there's also many dealers who are feeling quite overwhelmed with all the new possibilities. So if you look at that, what advice would you give a dealer who feels overwhelmed? How could they treat this digital transformation in the right way?
They need to have an internal sponsor, at least one, if not two, right? They need to have someone in their own team, in their internal team, that is allocating maybe 50% of his time to work on these new projects, implementation of the projects, give feedback to the provider or to the tool that they are using, because it's change management, right? It might impact their existing processes, how they maybe do the turns of who is answering their phone or not. If the amount of phone calls diminishes, then it might also change their own internal organization. So if you don't have anyone internally that is spending enough time on AI transformative topics, it will not work, because if you treat AI as a side job, you have to manage change. AI is change, and I don't know. In the past, we didn't have electric vehicle. Now we have. There was also a change, right? You need to have charging stations. You have to explain to customer what is an EV vehicle and why they would want to buy it. So AI is also a change, and as such, you need to manage the change. Once a use case is implemented, this person could either go back to its previous role, unlikely, but you know what? There will be use case number 2 and 3 and 4 after that for other AI use cases. So internal sponsor or internal team or part of the team that have part of the objective to work on these process changes and report on it, because if you don't report on it, you don't see the benefits, and then there is a risk you ditch something too early because maybe you had a good tool, but the team did not understanding, were not trained enough, were not given enough time to pilot it. Then you stop it, and maybe you stop it too early. That's also the risk with AI, because some people sometimes see that, hey, it's cool, but by the way, let's come back to where we were before because it doesn't add value. You need to invest proper time at the beginning and reports and create awareness internally so the team properly moves on to the new processes.
Yeah, absolutely. So what my experience is with it is that when you implement AI at a dealership and it actually doesn't involve any human work, so the human team doesn't need to change the way they work, then it's adopted. It will, and it's actually embraced as well. But as soon as you give something to an employee to say, here, use this, and use this in your daily work, yeah, they will not, because they're actually in a routine. They do the same thing every day, which they've done for years. If you look at service advisors, there are, for example, consulting so many different systems to give a service advice or to create a work order. And actually, my advice would be, don't say, here is a tool, start using it. No, let the tool just do it for them before they even need to. They will go to their normal toolings, and everything that they normally prepare or look up is already done. So you can do such a lot of things. And so my advice would be not to try to change somebody's behavior, but to take tasks away, and then automatically they change their work and focus more on the customer.
And then you change the behavior because you see the value. Because if simple implementation of AI internally in the business is you would have a Copilot on your emails, on your Teams, on your files, etc. old way is, let me look at my sent item or use a search function in Outlook to find that email that say that, or give. No, after you start practicing with a tool like Copilot, you say, hey, Copilot, I want to have a summary on this customer from 2025 on this topic for this country. And then you don't search where it searches for you, you do something else. So you still need this information. You still know where to get it from, but you save a lot of time by using the AI tool first instead of using the old way, as you said before, to go into 5 silo systems. But it takes time to a few iterations to realize, hey, actually, I'm going faster and I trust the results. Because at the arrival of AI, there was also the idea of, can I trust it? Does it have hallucination? And I think it's also good with what I said before with the internal sponsor is to share the learnings internally, because what we also observe is if the team share between each other with their own language what it helped them to do, then the colleagues would understand better that if it's a manager or someone externally that explains all of the benefits without seeing any direct value.
Yeah, absolutely. So also in terms of your openness, Nextlane Open, Secure, Smart, in terms of openness, you cooperate with a lot of other software suppliers that can connect to the Nextlane ecosystem. One of them is Novaco, so I'm also very happy that we are now also partnering. But can you tell a bit about how that came together? How do you, how did it come about, and how do you treat the partnership program?
So we were working in the past many years ago, originally with the DMS, even before Nextlane as a company existed, DMS by DMS, directly with a specific implementation into the DMS. So meaning that each time the DMS had a change or partner had a change, there was a specific development to adjust it, meaning it was very customized and not very scalable. Now we see partners that can work with the open APIs that we have on the Nextlane platform, being more independent. They have access to the API. The API connect the partners to the DMSs. And then when we have to evolve an API or review a field, etc., it automatically gets also updated for the rest of the DMSs. So it's easier and faster and more scalable to do it cross DMS, cross countries. And in many cases, we start with a partner in a specific market. But the partners also then go and conquer other markets in Europe. So then it's also, after the first market, it's easier to scale in other countries because you use the same APIs. Of course, sometimes there is different behavior or feature coverage on the DMS, but this is discussed in the onboarding process. But overall, it's very simple to go from DMS number 1 to 2. We have 7 DMSs connected to the platform. And so it's more self-service. It's fully documented online. We have a sandbox so the partner can develop in test without harming anyone in production. And then there is also a full control process to activate the dealers to that partner as long as there is an agreement between the dealer and the partner. Of course, the dealer needs to also subscribe to the partner application. And we see it now starting to scale this year, actually. It's now we're seeing partner going multi-markets, growing in amounts of dealer coverage. And so it shows the flexibility, and we will keep on improving that for sure.
Yeah, cool. So do you believe that the future is more than about open collaborations and open ecosystems rather than a standalone software platform?
Of course. Of course. Of course, we even see it on the customers, right? We see dealer groups sometimes also participating on startups. We see OEMs in Europe doing collaboration with China for the arrival of vehicles in Europe and selling factories, etc. Such is the amount of disruption that you cannot be a lone player. And I think it's all good to know each other, to talk together, understand the amount of possibilities. And then, of course, each customer, each partner, each provider make the decision of what they want to do. But I think talking openly and having open solutions is very, very important to have this end-to-end glue, which then allows the end customer, the car owner, to have a beautiful end-to-end journey. If the OEM is not aligned with the importer, with the dealer, with the DMS, with the CRM, with the ecosystem of the partner at the end, the issue is on the customer side. An issue on the customer side, of course, has a business impact. So I think we all have something to gain in this end-to-end journey for the end customers and also, of course, for us as business players.
It is, of course, also logical. If you have one big dominant player who wants to be good at everything, then you're seldomly good at anything because you can't do everything yourself. And by working with specialists who are then focused on a specific area and then connecting them, you create a better user experience for the end user of the dealership. So I fully agree with your vision. So I'm also happy that you do that. But looking ahead, what are you personally most excited about in terms of the future of automotive retail?
Many topics. I'm very curious about the impact of Chinese OEM arrivals and the type of new agreements that will happen also with the OEMs in Europe, and how does that impact the dealer groups, right? Because there is also this end-to-end ecosystem at play. Chinese OEMs come in many cases with their own software. And for some market, it works well. For some others, where it's already very consolidated across a couple of DMS, dealer groups feedback is, hey, you interface with my DMS, otherwise I can't manage your new process, right? So I think for me, the only answer is end-to-end integration and in this open ecosystem, because we cannot have more tools, more system disconnected because of the arrival of the new Chinese brand on the dealer side. That will make them less efficient, and they want to go in the other side, which is becoming more efficient. But how do you become more efficient? With more brands arriving into Europe and more companies, right? These Chinese OEMs are new companies setting themselves up that will manage their dealer network. Many times these dealer networks are already Nextlane customers. We have 4,000 big dealer groups in Europe, but for them, they are new entities. So our job also is to ease this relationship and the interfaces on this side. And I think this will be very interesting to see, test maybe new things, new ways of working to be more efficient. AI, of course, a huge disruption. I think it's still the very beginning. We're talking about how to answer customer questions, but AI also more predictive on how do you go after in advance the next maintenance schedule and propose the appointment automatically, like automate more the workflow. I think we're still seeing the tip of the iceberg, and we also have some partners working on these use cases. I think we just need to have ears and eyes open and talk together, because I've seen also discussions between partners also of Nextlane and some recent events that were really insightful. And you were also one of them, on how to improve the end-to-end also together, right? As experts in our respective fields. And of course, listening to the dealer customers, because the dealer groups have their vision, have their ID. OEMs have another ID. Sometimes in Nextlane, we have our own ID that we understand what they need, and is not always the case. So the open is not only on the interfaces, on getting the data for AI use cases, but it's open on understanding each other a bit better. Yeah.
No, actually, yeah. But it's true that when we met each other at Vakon Auto, we also met some other partners that are also believing in the same concept. And that means that the partners can also work together and share customers and actually connect with each other that way. So it's nice to see that. If listeners want to learn more about Nextlane and want to get in touch, what is the best way for them to do so?
So there is a nextlane.com, a website, and there is a contact form for either a product demo or for becoming a partner of Nextlane. And then also you can reach me through LinkedIn easily.
Perfect. Well, It was very interesting having you as a guest. Thank you very much for that. I wish you all the best with Nextlane, and also let's make a big success of the partnership. So I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, Martin, and see you soon.
Thank you very much. Bye, Hélène.